my day-to-day job. Okay, so having said that, I have been into the cloud technology for the last 9 years. I started in cloud in 2012. That's 9 years from today. And my total experience is about 16 years. So the initial 7 years started in 2005 to 2005 to 2012. I used to be into data center technologies. I was again started as a consultant and then moved over to become an architect and a senior architect. But that was to the data center. And then when cloud came in, I moved over to the cloud. Um, Total experience, as I said, around 16 years. I am a Bengali by birth, but brought up in Delhi, born in Bihar, currently Jharkhand, Jamshedpur. So during my 16 years, I have closely worked with technologies like if I look at 2005, 6, 7, 8, I was mainly working with data center audits. Once you set up a data center and you create an infrastructure there, you set up racks, you set up power and cooling on these racks. And then before you make the data center go to production, you have to do an audit to make sure that you have all the right infrastructure set up, you have the right network cables in the right places, you are advertising right IPs, you have right firewalls in the right place, you have proper cooling, you have redundant cooling, heating, power supply, air flow, everything from software to hardware. The entire audit, I used to lead one of the teams which used to do this audit for Australia market, mainly Australia and New Zealand. And then I moved over to something called VMware. I don't know how many of you know VMware as a technology. It's a virtualization platform. It was the first time we started creating private cloud. So I started working in private cloud with again infrastructure management technologies like compute, storage, uh, networking, and also at during this time I started doing a bit of application management and application development. So started with Ruby on Rails and Python as languages, and also some backend D programming languages also was something which I worked on. 2012 onwards, I made a shift to the cloud, and when in the cloud, I started learning again the core infrastructure at the base, and then on the base, I started learning on technologies like uh, started with again redoing Python, looking at some of the managed cloud services like analytics, artificial intelligence, Internet of Things. These are some of the things I started learning. Uh, in terms of language, I diversified into a bit of programming using Django and a little bit of JSON now and YAML. These are some of the things which I very closely work with. Um, and have been doing it for the last 9 years, looking after hybrid cloud, but market is changing now. 2012 to 2016, we saw a lot of private clouds coming in. Then 2016 to 20, we saw a lot of public clouds like AWS, Azure, Microsoft Azure, Google coming to the market. And now there is a consolidation. Private and public clouds are coming together and creating hybrid clouds. So that's where I am. I've been doing it for the SAARC market now, Southeastern region of regional cooperation. So India, Bangladesh, Nepal, Sri Lanka, Pakistan. These are my markets which I work across. When Corona did not strike, I used to go to these markets, go to meet the customers, have a meetings and workshops with them at these places. Now it is mostly as I'm doing now through the webinar. Uh, Video. Okay, is that visible now?
Yes, yeah, basically.
Okay. So, so far, any questions?
I would request my audience to kindly pose their questions. So we
Okay,
have a
good
question
question.
from
Are
our audience.
cloud computing and cloud architect the same? So cloud computing is the technology. Cloud architect is I enable that technology, I design that. So when a customer is adopting cloud as a platform, he would not adopt the entire cloud. Cloud is a platform. On the platform, they would have some specific business needs which they want to create. So I design those part of the platform to make sure that the customer's need is fulfilled. For example, if the customer wants to do some analytics um, on their distribution system, so how does he do it? He moves it to the cloud, but there needs to be somebody who will design that distribution analytics. They will have to understand where is the data source coming from, how is the data going to be analyzed, where is the data going to be stored after being analyzed, how would it be secured when it is at rest and when it is in transition, how would the data be secured? So these are some things which I do. So I architect how to use the cloud platform for the customer. Does that answer you, Dhruv? Okay. Any more questions?
So I have a question. So our students who are currently in grade 12, or there are students
Ayushi,
who
I'm
are,
sorry. You need to be much louder and clearer.
okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah. So my question was that how can our students start, their journey towards what you are currently doing?
How can they start?
Like which
Um,
type of courses and certifications they will need?
Certifications will come later. You can actually do certifications while you are working. Technologies change. See, cloud might not change over the next 20 years, but how the cloud is built will be changed definitely. Every 5 years, there is a paradigm change. So, certifications you will have to do lifelong. Even today, I do two certifications every year to keep up to the pace with the market. But yeah, a qualification in IT or information science definitely helps. A post graduation or probably a graduation in analytics or data science is also going to help, because these are the courses, these are the on the cloud platform, these are most of the workloads which run data science, analytics, artificial intelligence, or probably
You're on mute.
sorry, till what time did you guys hear?
That data analytics, data science, they
Yeah,
are.
so data analytics, data science, mortgage analytics, lending analysis, these are some of the very common workloads which run on the cloud. So a postgraduate qualification in cloud or IT or probably data science, probably data analytics or artificial intelligence or neural network, a post graduation in this would certainly give you a head start. Not that will not be the final, because in IT you have to learn throughout your life. You have to study probably every month, at least dedicate 20-30 hours to studying, even if you're old. But to start with, I think a post graduation in these things would help. Also, an MBA would help if you do an MBA in systems, or finance if you do an MBA in, or operations management. This can give you a lot of insight into the um, functional module of the cloud. Because let's say I'm working with a customer who is a large bank. Okay, name a large bank in US. Say 53rd National Bank. It's a large bank. Um, so in a 53rd large bank, if I'm working with them and they say, the CIO says, I want to move my mortgage analytics to the cloud. So what do I do then? I have to, so I am the technical side of it. I can tell you how to move to the cloud, what are the data migration policies, how to migrate the data, how to migrate the application. But there has to be a functional consultant also. He's normally an MBA who will tell me, okay, this is how this application behaves. This is how the application works in real world. He knows the functional part of that application, as in, what is mortgage analytics? Why do I do it? What does the customer benefit from it? What are the systems this mortgage analytics takes input from? What does it send the output to? So these are the things which I would not know, because I'm a technical person. That MBA in finance or MBA in operations would be heading that department, and I will interact with him daily to find out what does the application do so that it can move to cloud seamlessly. I see a question. Shall I answer it? What are the prerequisites required to become a cloud architect? Prerequisites. I said you probably need a post graduation or an MBA, and then you have to work. You have to start as a engineer, senior engineer, consultant, senior consultant, and then probably cloud architect. It will take at least 12, and if you're exceptional, it will take 12 years. If you're run of the mill, it'll take probably 15 years. For me, it took 16 years, so I'm probably average. But yeah, 12 to 15 years you have to work and work in cloud projects, work in cloud infrastructure, either AWS or Tencent or Microsoft or Google or Alibaba, Oracle Cloud. These are some of the famous clouds of the world, the biggest. So work with any one of this or work with one of the partners who works with this, like Wipro, Infosys, Tech Mahindra, HCL, Cognizant. They work with all these cloud providers. So work with this, but work with cloud platform. I see no reason why in 12 to 15 years you cannot become a cloud architect.
So I have a question. As you said that MBA professionals who are specialized in finance or operations, they can also work in your field. So the students who have their bachelors in other fields such as economics or commerce or uh, any other fields other than IT, can they also work with you if they have their masters in
With me,
finance or operations, like in your field?
okay. In my field, yeah, why not? I see. Um, it's always good to have an engineering background, to be honest, because it's easier for you to. So if you're going to go into the technology part of the cloud, it's always good to have an engineering background or MCA background, the technology part. But the functional part, you can be from humanities or commerce. You can be a CA as well. You don't need an MBA as such, but good to have an MBA because it gives you MBA gives you a lot of exposure to a lot of different topics. It gives you exposure to organizational structure. It gives you idea about accounting, management accounting, financial controls. It gives you idea about how the systems work, how does a decision making process work. These are things which is probably not going to come to you unless you do an MBA. But before MBA, if you would have done arts graduation or commerce graduation or science graduation, doesn't matter because anyway, MBA takes you into a different world altogether. So to answer your question, your graduation level stream doesn't matter too much as long as you're willing to learn. But again, there are people who do MBA just for the sake of doing it. That doesn't count. It's a very competitive world. If you learn properly and willing to invest time, I think this should work. So I'm a data science engineer in the future. Yes, absolutely. So data science, if you look at TensorFlow, have you worked with TensorFlow? Okay. So TensorFlow, how does it work? Most of the TensorFlow installations are on cloud now, on AWS. So 80 to 85% of the TensorFlow applications run on the cloud. So if you know the cloud infrastructure, the model training becomes much more easy. So AWS or Azure has a lot of models, inbuilt models, managed models. What you just need to do is use that models rather than having to develop these models. You just use these models, put your data points inside this model, see the inference, and then cross train the model again, and the model keeps on getting updated. If you do not know cloud, initially what you used to do, you used to write this model, create this model, a lot of complicated stuff. Sorry, cloud gives you a platform to out of the box take out the model and use it. So your work as a data science become very as easy as just feeding some structured data or unstructured data to make a meaningful decision out of a model. So the model is already created as a service by these cloud platforms. So yes, absolutely. My wife is into program management. She again doesn't directly handle technology, but knowing cloud is going to help her because whatever they're running is running out of cloud these days. At least by 2030, this they say is 95% of everything which is running on the world will run on the cloud platform. So anything, be it data science or neural network, you would definitely help. It'll definitely help you if you do a kind of little bit of work on the knowledge of the cloud platform. So any more questions?
So I have a question regarding programming languages. As you said that when you join this profession, you have to revisit learning Python and all that. So if the student is interested in, making a profession in this field, which programming languages do you feel they should, start learning?
Start with. It's always good to know C. It says C is the basis of everything, but see, it's an ocean. There are 5,000 probably, and it differs from infrastructure to infrastructure. So I would not recommend any one language. It is better to understand infrastructure basics. How does compute work? How does storage work? How does networking work? And probably one or two programming languages, whatever you are interested in. What I see nowadays, Python R for the data science guys, R is good. Python normally works. Ruby on Rails is also good. But I am not going to recommend one over the other because as long as you understand the logic behind it, why is a particular language better the other way? Learning the syntax of that language is probably just a month's work as long as you understand the logic. So go ahead, learn anything, but get your basics clear. For all I care, you can learn C as well. I don't care as long as you understand what is a linked list in C and how the data structures work in C.
The questions.
I couldn't hear you the first part.
I think that I would request the audience to kindly pose their questions if they have.
Sorry, sorry.
So we have another question about internship opportunities in your field for grade 11 and 12 students if they are available.
No, grade 11 and 12 we don't give internships.
So at which level can the students intern in this field?
So we have internship for people who have completed. So we visit on campus in IITs, Kanpur, Kharagpur, Chennai, Delhi, Mumbai, mainly Guwahati also a bit. All the IIMs we give post graduation internship or management trainee. We call it early leadership program ELP. That is started. I think all the four old IIMs and some new. I don't know if IIM Ranchi probably Kozhikode. Not sure of the list, but mainly IIMs and IITs. But if you have done through RECs, some RECs also they visit RECs and NITs. But if you are from not from these engineering colleges, then you probably need to apply on the website. And if you clear there are some rounds of interview, some rounds of coding, some rounds of general interview, and then you're offered an internship after your 4 years B or 3 years graduation and 2 years MBA. Either way. Does that answer, Ayushi?
We would request everyone to kindly pose their questions.
So no internships are offered during summer for college going students. Wait, Aditi, explain what internship do you mean? Or whoever this question is from, can somebody
Yeah, so I was saying,
explain?
internships where like students are attending college, and along with that, if they can work, is that possible? Like during summer or during winter?
In India?
Yeah, yeah. Like a lot of students have to do placements, college internships along with college. Like when you are in first year, second year, third year, fourth year.
Okay, ask again. Okay, give me an example. A student is doing what?
So he's doing a bachelor's in computer science engineering, and during summer they do internships like for 15 days, 1 month, 3 months. Is that
Yeah,
not possible along?
that's possible. That's very much possible. I don't think 15 days nobody will give you anything.
Okay,
You need to commit at least a couple of months if you have a summer. A lot of startups do. My organization doesn't do unless you are from IT, unless you're from IITs. The companies which I have worked with, I've worked with four companies. None of them do, except you're from IIT. So there is a
okay,
pure class bias there. But there are small startups I know who does give summer activities. But I don't think 15 days is possible. Minimum is 8 weeks, where I've seen they have given internships,
okay, okay,
and most of these internships are not paid, by the way, in
okay.
India at least.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Most of the students are. I mean, they don't mind whether it's paid or unpaid. They are looking for voluntary internships. So
So I know a lot of startups which do that. I can actually refer if somebody is really interested and somebody has done some internal studies and projects, which is a value addition to that companies. I
okay,
can give you like references in Bangalore or Mumbai or Chennai or Pune or even Delhi, startups which are doing their field of work and would be glad to have. But again, 15 days is not possible. I think
not 15
eight weeks is something they'll look.
minimum.
They will also have to gain something out of that, right? So this I
Okay.
think. Yep, that's the answer to that. Any
There's so
other
many
questions
fields
from?
that come out of computer science engineering. Like one that we've come to know through you is this cloud architect. Yeah, and there are data scientists. You can go on to be a data scientist. So which one do you think has the uh, which in the future would is the more, like there's one artificial intelligence, there's robotics. So which do you think is the most lucrative field for a student, like going forward? And I mean, you can understand what there is in the future that we have.
So I think data science generally has more job opportunities as of today. And for the next 5 years, I think data science will have more job opportunities because we are understaffed there, both in India and across the world. But salaries are generally high in cloud technologies. Why? Cloud is the infrastructure on which everything runs, be it data science, be it robotics, be it AI, be it neuron, be it be it neural networks, be it repetitive learning, or make any kind of workload. It runs on the platform which is cloud. So cloud is a platform on which these things run. Cloud is generally a little higher paid. Over the next 5 years, data science will have more jobs. And I think over the next 10 years, if you see, after first 5 years, cloud would have more jobs than data science, because data science will saturate in next 3 to 4 years, I would say. If that is the case, then long term, I would say cloud is would be a good option to look at. Unfortunately, in India, whatever courses they do in cloud are not very close to the what industry works on. So I work in a cloud company, and none of the official cloud certifications or cloud post graduations, which is like post graduation in cloud computing and all this, none of these are recognized as an official thing. So it is better to do a generic computer science degree and do probably an MBA in systems or operations management, and then join a cloud organization and learn cloud from basics. Um, I would say there are some universities abroad who are doing a good catch up, but India is still far behind on that.
So India is far behind. I mean, I had known that India was far behind in artificial intelligence. So today I've learned another thing is that it's behind in cloud computing. What else is India not offering to students?
India has always been not in the forefront of product development. All of our IT companies actually do service. Wipro, TCS, Cognizant, Infosys. Service is a linear revenue model. The more number of people you put in a project, the more number of billing hours you get and more amount of money you get from the client. That means you have to compete against your competitor only on the basis of how less salary you pay to your employee.
Okay.
If TCS pays 1 lakh rupees, they will have to charge 2 lakh from the client. If Cognizant can pay 50,000, they can charge 1 lakh from the client. So client will give the project to the person who pays 1 lakh, who charges
Okay.
1 lakh. That is
Okay.
not a scalable model. They will not survive for long if that's how they work. Product development companies, on the other hand, work on the product. They invest a lot of money or in research, IP. You know what is IP? Intellectual property.
Yeah. Yeah.
They invest a lot of money in IP. Once they develop an IP, it becomes a cash cow. For the next 15, 20 years, they can sell the product and earn money. And if you see, for $8 billion of revenue, Wipro has 2 lakh employees. And let's say VMware, for $16 billion of revenue, double the revenue, they have 26,000 employees, one tenth of the employee for double the revenue. That's
Revenue.
because that's because it's a product company. Once they have invested in the product, they've developed a product. Now they do not need to compete against their competitor based on how less you pay salary to your employee. That is why I would say India needs to focus on generic product development on cloud, because product development has to happen on cloud now. Nobody will go to now on premise data center and develop a futuristic product. I don't know any product which is being developed by any company across the world which is now being developed thinking that it will be on premise. I don't think so. Most of them have a cloud roadmap. Any product, you go to any product's website, name a product, Adobe, Corel, name a product. Even if you look at Office 2000, Microsoft, Office 2016, it has got an Office 365, which is the cloud-based version of it. Everything is now moving to cloud. So cloud you need to know, and then based on the cloud, it's good to know one or two applications. And India has to start offering products built on cloud so that people can actually buy it and use that product rather than offering only services.
Okay.
This is where I think India lacks as of now.
And from what I understand, like the one that you refer to, data science, you have to do an undergrad, a postgrad, and a PhD, and only then you have the opportunity and enough job opportunity in the data science field. Is that correct? Is my understanding correct? Or
Yeah, I mean, even MBA is fine. But again, you start. See, I'll tell you very frankly, just because you have an MBA, nobody will give you a job anymore. You would need, unless you're from IIMs or probably Stanford or probably Chicago Booth School of Management. These are different ballgames altogether. But for any other schools, what you need to do is first do while you are doing an MBA, do a good internship, good 2 months internship with an interesting project, even if they don't pay money, something which makes a value. Make an excellent resume. I I take 3 or 4 interviews in a day, and when I talk to the HR, when they send me a profile, I sometimes feel the pain of the HR when they have to go through hundreds of those resumes because it's so badly written. I go through 5 pages of resume for a person who has only 3 years of experience and doesn't give me a shit about what he has done. If he has done anything, he only has said we and big claims, no results. He has not mentioned I have done this. He has not mentioned. So what? What did you do by doing this? So resume is something which they need to invest in, write properly, very important because an average recruiter, my HR guy, lady, has a team of 6, 7 people, hardly has 10 seconds per resume. And if you have to grab the attention in that 10 seconds or maybe 15 seconds. How do you get that attention? Learn to write a good cover letter and then learn to know what interests you. Approach those organizations through LinkedIn or through placement agency or through your office, your college's placement cell. Join into something which is interesting for you and learn from the grassroots. Do not think that because you have done an MBA and you have learned data science, a couple of certificates in data science, people will give you a principal data science architect the first day. It takes a lot of hard work. What you learn in college and what you actually do as a data scientist is hell and heaven difference. I'm going to tell you. You have to work for 10 years, 12 years. You will learn so much different models, so much ways how corporates work. Then probably 15 years down the line, you can look at, leading a team of data scientists, maybe 20 people team, where you can, make some big ticket decisions. But if you ask me, what do you want to do at this moment? Yes, you want to join a course, a good course, but also while doing at the course, you should look at your own development, your personality development, interview skills, talking skills. Most of the Indians lack how to talk to people to, have a convincing argument, a convincing decision without antagonizing these people. So develop your personality, develop your resume, develop a formal cover letter, have a good education, find your interest, try to get into this interest at a small scale. Don't expect the first 5 years you'll get great salary. Invest your first 5 years in learning. Once you have 10 or 15 years of education behind you, learning behind you, there are plenty of organizations who will fight for you to, and they are ready to pay you whatever you ask for if you prove for the first 5 years that you are worth that. So invest in yourself, education, personal development for the next 5 years, I would say, along with data science or MBA or whatever you want to do.
So data science versus business analytics, we're seeing a huge trend of students wanting to go to for business analytics. So I mean, and students go for business analytics after computer science engineering, and then there are those who go for data science. Which of the two is better, the path?
Better would depend on what you want to do in life. Business analytics is typically more into business applications, something like creating a data lake. I don't know if you know what is a data lake. It's a business analytics. I work with business analysts and business analytics experts day in and day out. So when we create a large data lake across an organization, let's say a big Indian organization, let's say ITC, they have thousands of application servers. They're spewing in data day in and day out. So we create a data lake where the data is accumulated. A lot of data is unstructured. Word, pad, PowerPoint, there's no query you can run. So unstructured data, they make sense out of it. What does 500 likes in Facebook mean? For example, that's a business analytics. 500 likes in my company's page in Facebook, but only two sales. Obviously, there is something not working well. Or people are arbitrarily giving like. So business analytics is making sense of unstructured data in the business. Data science is a broader scope. Data science actually helps you learn how data works, the correlation of data, not only in business, but in scientific research, in environment, smart city, pollution control, sustainable development. All these things have a data component to it. Data science teaches you how to interpret that data and how to get meaning out of that data, not only in terms of business, but in terms of other sphere as well. So I would say data science has a broader scope than business analytics. But business analytics, if you really want to work in the corporate world, you can do business analytics course as well to go. In fact, MBA teaches business analytics very well. It doesn't teach data science very well. MBA specializes in business analytics. Most of the good MBAs now have a business analytics as a subject, so that at least basic familiarity is there.
So I have a question. How can foreign education help here? As you said that India, the universities here, they do not provide any specialized courses. So how a foreign education can
I think I think the main uh, places where foreign education can actually help is the first one would be broader horizons. International student community, more people interacting, more from different backgrounds. Horizons becomes broader. Your alumni network is broader across the world. Better horizons. You have access to more developed job market. Since cloud is all over the world now, most of the countries have better than India cloud job market, I would say. India is also developing, but a lot of other countries are much more developed in India. For example, Australia has got 40 times more developed job market in cloud than India has as per revenue. So you have access to more developed job markets there, more job satisfaction because, as I said, these companies mostly in India, mostly we do support, maintenance. Uh, it's always better to do product development, be directly in involved into product development so that you have more job satisfaction. And foreign universities, good universities at least have a good hands-on approach to their education, which means the learning is better. And as I said, as of now, invest in learning. That's the most important thing. Going forward, 10 years later, two MBAs will be competing against each other. Who will win is the guy who understood the basics best. I think that is better in foreign universities if you because of their way they teach students. I think you also have the ability to work part time there, paid work, when you go for universities abroad. And also you develop independence. That's something you will need to learn throughout your life. You cannot do things depending on others, so your parents or brother or sister or a support system. Going You can also do it staying in India and moving to a different city, but I think going to a different country would be much better, because there you are alone. You have to take your own decisions. You have to manage your own self. You have to manage your image, manage your co-students. It gives you a lot of maturity and independence. So these are some things which I think can skew the decision in favor of, you know, universities which are abroad for an education.
I would request our audience to kindly pose their questions if they have. After 10 years, what progress do you see in India, especially in your field?
Sorry,
What developments? I'm saying that after 10 years, what developments do you see in India,
10 years.
your field? Yeah.
10 years is a too long term in IT industry to predict something. I cannot predict probably 3 4 years. 10 years I don't know, but in 5 years I think most of the platforms will move to cloud. So I think on-premise data centers or on-premise IT data centers would be reduced to not more than 30% of what they're now. 70% at least of the workloads will run out of cloud, and that includes everything: data science, analytics, business analytics, anything you talk of that will move to cloud by that time. That's a major change. Other than that, I think Google, Amazon, and a couple of other big IT or cloud giants will control a lot of data. So, India will become much more data-driven economy. So, data would be so. I think per day we generate 1 zettabyte of data across the globe now. I think by the next 10 years, this will increase 30-fold to 30 zettabyte. Just imagine how much data we are ingesting every day. India will also grow 30 times the data usage. So managing data on cloud platform, managing data on non-cloud platform, this will also become a very interesting career proposition. These are two additional things which will come up in the next 5 to 10 years, I would say.
So, what would be your advice for the students who are looking forward to work in this field? The students who are currently in grade 12 or the students who are currently pursuing undergrad?
Advice in terms of
How they can prepare themselves for this field to excel?
I just said that, right? So invest in a good education. Um, if you invest in a good education, also side by side invest in developing your personality. When I say personality, develop the right work ethics, right attitude towards work, develop communication skills, develop how to talk to people, convince people, soft skill जिसको कहते हैं, develop the soft skill. Once you develop that, you also have an education background to support it. Find a mentor who can teach you, guide you on the right direction, and then approach the right organizations where you would love to work, and find out why do you want to work there, what do you want to do working there. Once you do that, I think road will become much easier. You will find your own road by that time. This is the groundwork which I would advise you to do at this moment.
So, I would request everyone to kindly pose their questions because we are about to end the webinar.
So if there are no questions, shall we give the candidates 10 minutes back?
I think there are no questions now.
No questions are there. I cannot see, right?
No, there are no questions. I think we don't have any more questions.
All right.
So thank you so much for your time, Samit. It was a really enlightening session. Thank you
Okay.
for taking out time for this. And I would thank all of the people from our audience for taking out time for the webinar. Thank you, Samit. Have a very nice day.
Thanks.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.